They say some houses are meant to be forgotten, but what if you were the one who would never escape its curse? The Bent family had never seen anything like the old house at the edge of Hollow Oak. A dark silhouette standing against the fog, its twisted windows like vacant eyes staring into their souls. As they pulled up to crumbling house, an eerie stillness filled the air. It wasn't just the house that felt wrong. It was the land itself. The trees surrounding the house loomed like silent sentinels, their twisted branches clawing at the fog that shrouded the place. "Are you sure this is the right place?" Sarah asked, her voice shaky. Her father, Charles, stepped out of the car, trying to hide his unease. "It's the only one left in our budget." But as they stepped inside, the air grew colder, and the creaking of the old wooden floors sent shivers down their spines. This was no ordinary house. It had a presence. That night, as they tried to sleep, the whispers began. Low, faint, barely audible at first. "Leave, or suffer forever." The voice hissed, its words scraping at their minds. Charles dismissed it as the wind, just the house settling. But deep down, he knew something was terribly wrong. Sarah, lying in bed, couldn't shake the feeling of eyes watching her from the darkness. Every time she turned her head, she swore she saw figures standing in the corners of the room. But when she looked again, nothing was there. The next morning, Charles began researching the house's history, desperate to understand why the place felt so alive. What she uncovered made his blood run cold. The house had been built over an old cemetery, one that had never been properly consecrated. Over the years, families had moved in, only to be driven out by the strange happenings that plagued them. But this was different. There was something about this house that hungered for more than just fear. It wanted their souls. As the days passed, the family became more restless. Sarah started seeing things. Shadows moving across the walls, dark figures lurking just beyond her vision. The whispers grew louder, more demanding. "They're coming," Sarah whispered one night, her face pale with fear. "They won't let us leave." Charles, no longer able to deny the truth, tried to leave. But as they reached the door, it slammed shut in front of them. The house wasn't going to let them go. They ran, trying to break through the front door, but every time they reached it, it felt like an invisible force was holding them back. The house seemed to stretch and shift, trapping them in its grip. Suddenly, the whispers intensified. "You will never leave. You are part of us now." Desperate, Charles began looking for another exit, but the house seemed to have no end. The windows were bricked up, the doors sealed shut. It was as if the house itself had become a living entity, alive with a malevolent energy that wanted them to stay. It wasn't until Sarah stumbled upon a hidden basement that the true horror of the house revealed itself. In a dim light, she discovered old journals from past inhabitants. Their final entries spoke of the same things: whispers, shadows, and unyielding curse that bound them to the house. As she read the last entry, a chill ran down her spine. "They are coming for you. The house has claimed me, and it will claim you too." With no way out, the family took their final stand. They confronted the spirits that haunted the house, demanding they let them go. But the spirits laughed, their voices echoing through the walls. "You can never leave, not now." They taunted, their forms materializing before them, twisted and horrifying. In one final act of desperation, Charles set fire to the house, hoping to end the curse once and for all. But the flames only seemed to feed the house's power, growing higher, twisting the very structure of the building into something more monstrous. As the fire burned, the house seemed to scream in agony. But just as they thought it was over, the door slammed open, and they ran out into the night. But as they reached the end of the driveway, the ground beneath them shook. The whispers, now louder than ever, echoed in their ears. You cannot escape us. And in the distance, through the smoke and flames, the silhouette of Hollow Oak host stood, still watching, still waiting. Did they truly escape? Or were they forever bound to the curse of Hollow Oak? Some say they left with their lives, but others believe they are still out there, wandering, trapped within the house's grasp. And every year a new family arrives, unsuspecting, unaware of the horrors that await. A more dramatic and intriguing opening that raises immediate questions and intrigue. It pulls the viewer in with a chilling premise. The environment, characters, and actions are described in greater depth, creating a more immersive and atmospheric experience. The pacing of the story increases with more moments of tension and urgency, keeping the audience on edge throughout. The ending leaves open questions, creating an air of mystery and encouraging the viewer to think about what might happen next or return for more. The emotional stakes for the characters are heightened, making the audience care more about their fates. This revised version should have a much better chance of performing well on YouTube, due to its stronger hooks, suspenseful pacing, and emotional resonance, making it highly shareable and engaging.